Have you ever felt your mood change because someone didn't reply to your message? Have you ever noticed yourself checking your phone over and over again, wondering why someone suddenly feels distant? Have you ever spent hours thinking about a conversation, trying to figure out whether you said something wrong? If your answer is yes, this video is for you. Fear of abandonment is one of the most common emotional wounds people carry, yet many don't realize they have it. They think they're simply overthinking. They think they're too emotional. They think they're needy, insecure, or sensitive. But often the real issue is much deeper. At its core, fear of abandonment is the fear that the people you care about will eventually leave, reject, replace, or stop choosing you. Not because they said they would, not because they are planning to, but because somewhere in your past, your brain learned that connection is not always safe. When children grow up with emotional neglect, inconsistency, criticism, rejection, or unpredictable relationships, they often learn an unconscious lesson. People cannot always be relied upon emotionally. The child grows up. The environment changes, but the fear remains. Psychologically, this happens because the brain is designed to protect us from pain. Once it learns that connection can disappear unexpectedly, it becomes hypervigilant. Hypervigilance means constantly scanning for danger, even when there is no actual threat. That's why people with abandonment wounds often notice things others ignore. A delayed reply, a shorter message, a change in tone, a canceled plan, a little emotional distance. What looks small to others can feel enormous to them. Imagine this. Someone normally replies within a few minutes. Today they haven't replied for hours. At first you're okay. Then you check your phone. Then again. Then again. You try distracting yourself, but your attention keeps returning to the silence. Soon, your mind starts creating stories. Maybe they're upset with me. Maybe I said something wrong. Maybe they're losing interest. The anxiety keeps growing until they finally reply. The interesting thing is that the anxiety wasn't caused by the message itself. It was caused by uncertainty. For many people, uncertainty feels more painful than reality. The mind would rather create a negative answer than sit with no answer at all. Here's another example. You have a good conversation with someone. Everything seems normal. But later that night, you replay the conversation in your head. You remember a joke you made, a comment you shared, a story you told. Suddenly you start questioning yourself. Did I talk too much? Did I sound weird? What if they think I'm annoying? Nothing bad happened. Nobody complained. Nobody criticized you. Yet your mind keeps searching for mistakes. This is because abandonment wounds often create a deep fear of rejection. The brain starts treating social interactions like tests that must be passed perfectly. Another common example happens when someone's energy changes. Maybe a friend usually sounds excited and warm. Then one day their messages feel shorter. Nothing dramatic, just different. Most people would assume they're busy or tired. But abandonment fears often interpret change as danger. You start wondering what happened. You reread old messages. You compare conversations. You look for clues. The mind becomes a detective searching for evidence that something is wrong. Not because you enjoy overthinking, because your nervous system is trying to prevent future pain. Social media has made this even harder. You post something. A certain person sees it, but they don't react. No reply. No emoji, nothing. A small moment becomes an emotional puzzle. You find yourself checking repeatedly, looking for reassurance, looking for proof that everything is still okay. The issue isn't social media itself. The issue is what silence means to a wounded mind. For many people, silence doesn't feel neutral. Silence feels personal. Another painful situation occurs when someone asks for space. A healthy request becomes a terrifying possibility. Someone says, "I've had a long day. I just need some time for myself." Objectively, there's nothing wrong with that statement. Everyone gets overwhelmed. Everyone needs rest. But abandonment fears often translate those words into something completely different. They're pulling away. They're tired of me. I'm losing them. The emotional reaction becomes much bigger than the actual situation. This happens because the brain isn't reacting only to the present moment. It's reacting to old emotional memories connected to loss, rejection, neglect, or disconnection. In psychology, this is called emotional triggering. A current situation activates an older wound. The present moment becomes mixed with the past. That's why reactions sometimes feel stronger than they seem to make sense. You're not only feeling today's fear, you're feeling years of accumulated fear. One of the hardest parts of abandonment wounds is that they often affect self-worth. Over time, the question stops being, why are they acting differently? And becomes, what's wrong with me? Many people secretly believe that if they were more interesting, more attractive, more successful, more lovable, or more perfect, nobody would leave them. So they spend years trying to become enough, without realizing they were always enough. The real issue was never their worth. The issue was the fear. Fear changes how we interpret reality. It makes neutral situations feel threatening. It turns uncertainty into rejection. It turns distance into abandonment. It turns ordinary human behavior into evidence that we're unwanted. This creates emotional exhaustion. You begin carrying invisible stress everywhere. You analyze conversations. You anticipate rejection. You prepare for loss before anything has happened. The nervous system stays alert, waiting for danger. And living in that state is exhausting. The good news is that awareness changes everything. Once you understand the pattern, you can begin responding differently. The next time anxiety appears, pause and ask yourself, what are the facts? Not the fears, not the assumptions, the facts. For example, the fact is they haven't replied. The fear is that they're losing interest. Those are two different things. Learning to separate facts from fears is one of the most powerful skills in healing abandonment wounds. Another helpful question is, what else could be true? Maybe they're busy. Maybe they're tired. Maybe they're dealing with something unrelated to you. When we fear abandonment, we often jump directly to the worst possible explanation. Giving your mind alternative explanations helps create emotional balance. Healing also requires self-compassion. Many people criticize themselves for their fears. They call themselves needy, weak, broken, too much. But shame never heals a wound. Understanding does. The truth is that your fear developed for a reason. Your brain was trying to protect you. It learned patterns based on past experiences. The problem is that the same protective system that once helped you survive may now be creating suffering in situations where you're actually safe. Healing doesn't mean you stop caring about people. It doesn't mean becoming cold or emotionally detached. It means learning how to stay grounded even when uncertainty appears. It means realizing that your worth is not determined by how quickly someone replies. It means understanding that disagreement does not automatically mean rejection. It means recognizing that someone needing space does not automatically mean they are leaving. Most importantly, healing means creating a sense of safety within yourself. Because no amount of reassurance from other people will ever feel like enough if the wound inside remains unaddressed. And if you see yourself in this video, I want you to remember something. You are not too much. You are not difficult to love. You are not broken. Your fear has a history. Your reactions have a reason. And your healing is possible. The anxiety you feel today may have started a long time ago, but it does not have to control the rest of your life. Not every silence is rejection. Not every distance is abandonment. Not every change means someone has stopped caring. Sometimes people are simply busy. Sometimes they are overwhelmed. Sometimes they are fighting battles you know nothing about. And sometimes a delayed reply is just a delayed reply, nothing more. The moment you begin separating your fears from reality, you take away their power, and that is where healing truly begins.